This is honestly one of the few sections of the line that has been largely unaffected for the last almost 100 years.
It's just crazy how many remnants are still around. You wouldn't even know unless you know what you're looking for.
Welcome back to the P51 podcast. We saw a lot of your comments on the last video and we decided to make a true dedicated video to the trolley line. So starting this off, we are actually standing on the trolley line right now. This is part of the line that ran down to Worcester, where it dead end, it stopped, literally just to go to Worcester, just so they could say that Worcester was a part of it. But yeah, this is the right of way. We can see down. It's very cool to see this, and it's really close to town. I'm gonna say Route 83 is back behind the camera, not very far that way. Friedland, is this Friedlander Park, right? Yeah. Friedlander Park is on this side of the right of way, and then there's houses to the other side. But it's really cool to see this, and I mean, my gosh, compared to the park, it's like elevated probably a good 10-15 feet almost. I mean, it's really cool, really insane. It's just still right here. You can see, I would say from one end to the other, maybe 1/8 of a mile, which is not a lot, but I mean, hey, that's better than nothing, right?
Over 100 years old.
Well over 100 years
100.
old. Almost been abandoned for 100 years.
Wow, yeah,
so
you're right.
Yeah, so we figured we'd start out here, this cool segment that we found, and we're gonna go from there. We're gonna show you some footage from, probably reuse a little bit from the Erie video. We're gonna get some more dedicated footage for you and show you some cool stuff, so stay tuned. All right guys, we're here in West Salem on the old right-of-way of the Cleveland, Southwestern, and Columbus. So there's actually a road here. We're in a park. It's called Drake Park. It used to run right through this park, and the road to get here is actually the right-of-way. So if we look, it goes up, it's straight north-south right here for this stretch in West Salem. It comes across Route 301 and then kind of goes a little bit south. Excuse me, this is east-west, not north-south. Anyways, it comes right down this road and then through the West Salem water treatment plant, which is right back there. The road to the water treatment plant is the old right-of-way, and you can actually kind of tell it is raised up compared to most of the stuff around, which is really cool. I mean, nobody thinks about that, but that is most definitely because the right-of-way used to be here. On the other side of the water treatment plant, there's a valley. Now, the Erie is parallel to us, basically right where we're at here in Drake Park, and it runs more or less parallel all the way to Ashland and to Mansfield even. There's a really cool tunnel on Wiley Road that's just that way by, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile. And there is a wooden trestle bridge that there's actually a picture of. We will find it and put it up in this video for the Interurban line here that went over that valley. That's really cool. It was right here, right in West Salem. We got a picture of the West Salem station too that we'll try to throw up, but yeah, we're gonna move on to the next location.
You found something.
Yeah. So I've never been here when like it's been in the winter time and knew to look for the trolley line. So now that like I actually knew it was here, it's the first time I've been back, and like that is most definitely the west side of the wooden trolley. Like they built the land out, because I mean if you look this way, water treatment plant, and where we were just filming at in Drake Park, it's right over the hill there. This side's not as well defined. It looks like they might have maybe tore a little bit of the bridge down, or it just didn't, they didn't build as much fill out as they did on the west side. So, but yeah, right here, pretty much where we're standing is where it came across and went that way and continued west. All right, so we're here in Nankin, Ohio, just a little bit west of where we were just at in West Salem, maybe about 10 miles. We are standing on a former power station for the Interurban line, and this building actually was here until about 2021 is what I saw that it was torn down, which is horrible because we just missed it.
Yep.
And in the short term of things, 4 years. Yeah, so right here, power station, and then this road right here was the right of way. And actually behind us over there, there's the only spot that has the oldest trees is where the right of way would have been there too. But there's a little sign of things, we kind of have some stone buried over here. It's raised up quite a bit from the road, this little alleyway next to us. But yeah, it's real shame, some rocks and some concrete's all that's left of this building that was built 100 years before it was raised. I mean, it's sad to think about, but that's what we're trying to do, you know, trying to show people where this stuff was so it doesn't get forgotten.
Yep. So we are actually standing over here on the remnants of an old bridge.
Yeah,
for the trolley line.
The abutments for the trolley line right here. It ran obviously right where we're standing, and basically the power lines are on the right of way. And this right of way is still kind of, you can kind of tell on Google Maps where it is. It goes just south of the town of Lodi, Ohio here, crosses over the CSX Newcastle sub, which is the active rail line in this area, and then the Wheeling and Lake area. It doesn't cross until almost on the west side of town, the Wheeling. And I'm pretty sure it was just a diamond there. They didn't have a bridge there. But we don't really know where the station is for the Lodi, if they had a station. I'm sure they did. I can't imagine they wouldn't. But this is part of the line that ran to Columbus. And we're standing on it, like we said. This went back behind you in the camera there all the way to Medina. This meets in Medina on part of the line that we started the intro out from this video. That would be in Worcester, and that just dead ended in Worcester like we said in the intro there. But this is the part that went all the way to Columbus, went Lodi, West Salem, Ashland, Mansfield, and then over to Bucyrus, or Crestline too in between there, and then south from there. But yeah, this is really cool. This is still here. I've been here taking pictures of trains, and I never realized what this was until recently. I mean, it's on the old right of way. Thanks to some old surveying maps and stuff, we were able to figure this out. And the road behind us here that is perpendicular to Friendsville Road, which is the road that goes over the tracks, that was actually part of the right of way. So they built the road on top of the right of way. But yeah, this is really neat. It's really cool it goes this way. And we're just going to talk a little bit more about the history of the Interurban line. So it was originally created to connect Berea to downtown Cleveland, and it was a horse-drawn line at first. And then the late 1800s, they became powered. So they were electric powered for the duration from the late 1890s up until it was officially abandoned in 1931. And its heyday was really from 1906 to 1917. That was when it was at its peak, and then from there was a decline after that. For some reason, right preceding the end of World War I, they actually were not profitable. It's very interesting. I read that thanks to the College of Worcester actually has a very good page on that. We can link that in the description below. But they were also talking about they had a funeral car. It was called Dolores, and that was a big hit for them. 1917 was a big year for that. I think it said they had 45 trips for the funeral car, and it was their nicest car on the line. They put the most money into it, most effort, and unfortunately, I think sometime in the 1920s they got rid of it by burning it, literally. Burning it, because these were all wooden for the most part. It's really sad, but yeah, we have some cool pictures. You know, we're talking about, I think it's a station, but it's a structure for the Interurban on the Worcester branch. So if you look, it's on the corner of Hutton Road and Route 3, just north of Worcester, Ohio. If you look at the right angle, you can see in the front the initials, the Cleveland Southwestern.
I remember you showing me that.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's insane that there's something still there. And like we were just at the Nankin location, that was there up until 2021. Survived for over 100 years. It's crazy. All right, well, after some tribulation, we found the Medina station. It was at its original location up until about April of 2025. And we went back there because I saw a outdated Google Maps post. I've seen it before, but I thought it was still there. Well, they're building a new building. They moved it. Thank God that they saved it.
Here it is.
Yeah, it's one of the very few. I think it's the only wooden deep substation that has survived. So this was built in 1897 to serve the Interurban when they reached Medina. It's basically like a shed, really, but it's really neat. They have moved it to the Medina County Historical Society grounds, one of their spots over towards their fairgrounds, and it's really neat. You know, it's It's right on the square, right off of 42. They're building a hotel there now. So they moved it from that location to where it is now, and it'll be able to be visited from people coming to the Historic Society. So it's awesome. It's saved.
It's so cool.
Changed locations here a little bit. We are on the right of way, right here. You can see just straight down there and straight back the other direction. We are literally on the right of way, and we're actually at probably one of the coolest locations for this here.
I didn't even know that this existed.
Yeah, I didn't really. I've been past here. I actually found it by accident riding motorcycle, and then I looked into it. But this is the Northern Ohio Railway Museum, and they have an active short little trolley ride that is built on the right of way. So literally, like, I don't know, maybe 30 yards, 50 feet, or it'd be 60 feet or whatever.
Yeah,
you get what I mean. There's not a bunch here. It doesn't matter exactly how long, but it looks like they have plans to go further north. I mean, they got the poles up, they got lines ran,
which would be amazing.
It would be amazing. They have a crossing put in.
Yeah,
like, this is crazy. They don't really have much on the other side of the crossing, but it looks like the future is bright for this. Who knows? We might get a couple miles of trolley line restored, albeit for a museum, but still would be amazing.
It would be.
And actually, back, you can't really tell right here. You can see where the track goes back over there, but that's where the railroad, or the museum is. So back there, they have a ton of trolleys, a lot of stuff from Cleveland. They used to have 4 pieces from the Cleveland Southwestern. Actually, I'm going to pull it up because I saved it so I could show you or tell you about it. The Northern Ohio Railway Museum had 4 pieces from the Cleveland Southwestern. They had 1 motor, which is number 51, and then they had 3 trailers. Now they only have 1 trailer. They had to scrap everything else because vandalism, and it was not worth saving. They couldn't save it. And 514, I believe, is the one that they actually saved. So 503 and 512 were the other ones that they had, and they had to get rid of. So we already did a bit. We've been trying to film this for a couple weeks now, and we got sick, so we had to postpone. But I do want to redo something that we recorded at the bridge abutment location over by Lodi. So I want to talk a little bit about the history of the trolley line here. So began in the mid 1890s as the Berea, the horse line. It was before that, and then 1890s is when it started to become an interurban. They first had a battery powered cars, and then when another interurban line created a substation along the route, that's when they switched to like full-blown, you know, wires above trolley line or interurban. 1897, we mentioned this at the Medina station. That's when they reached Medina. And then going further south, 1903 is when they reached Worcester. 1907 is when they finally reached Columbus. Worcester, they had some issues with that. Worcester was a little bit funny about them approaching. There's some interesting articles out there about it. Should read those. To go south or southwest to Columbus, they did this route from Medina. Then they went down to Seville, Ohio. From Seville, they went down to Worcester, but they also went west to Lodi, which is where those bridge abutments were, and then through West Salem. We're gonna have some. We started off the video there, and then of course they went to Mansfield next. And there's actually something I want to talk about from the line between West Salem and Ashland. So we went to that spot where there was a substation in Nankin, and that from basically West Salem to Ashland, more or less, the routes between the Erie and the Cleveland Southwestern were parallel. And that was originally known as the Cleveland Ashland Mansfield. So if you ever see CAM substation, that's Cleveland Southwestern. They just bought that out. So they would race. Trolley line's the fastest unrecorded spot is between actually Nankin and West Salem, where they're parallel. So the interurban engineers would race the Erie trains. Pretty interesting. And there was a top speed of like I think 80 miles an hour.
I think you're right. They said unofficial top speed of 80 miles an hour on a little trolley. Right,
and they talked about they couldn't go too fast because the rail was pretty light. But yeah, so another really big thing that I just discovered recently. So at that spot, we talked about we showed it going over the Baltimore and Ohio, which is now CSX railroad main route to Chicago. So 1903, that route was actually different. That route, 1903 is where they built and finished the current route, 1903, 1904. Well, in that time, when they abandoned the original Baltimore, Ohio route from like just east of Lodi and all the way to Sullivan, that when they abandoned the route that went through the swamps, and for the high route that went over the swamps, the Cleveland Southwestern actually took over part of that right away. So just west of our spot there where it shows the bridge abutments going over the modern day tracks, just west of there, maybe a mile, is where the Interurban picked up the old Baltimore on Ohio route and took it to a place called Crawford's Corner. It's not really a real place. It's just west of 42 and where 421 meet. At that point, it curved kind of southwest and then went along Elyria Road, which is Route 301, into West Salem. And then the Baltimore, Ohio was perpendicular to 301 and went straight and then kind of north over to Sullivan. So that's really important. Yeah.
You got it all? It's a lot.
I did. It was a lot. Hopefully it's not too boring. But that is a big deal. They used the same right of way. The trolley line picked that up right after they abandoned it. All right, couple more bits while we switch the other side of the street. You know, you can get a little bit different view here. It's actually really neat. We're just talking about noticing they got these poles over here too. So I mean,
they're getting ready.
They look like they have active plans to do like a quarter mile's worth of track. And
I hope.
It'd be awesome. I mean, they already got quite a bit coming from the actual, museum. But anyways, so a couple more pieces of interesting information. They had these cars called muzzle-loader limiteds. So that was, they converted these cars, they lengthened them. So this was car number 130 through 134, and then car 143 through 149 were lengthened 260 feet, excuse me. And then they had 72 seats at that point. And then this, of course, was known, I didn't mention this at all yet, this was known as the Green Line. That was their color scheme, green cars. But also, I wanted to mention that the last run was February 1931. So at that point, a lot of the line was already abandoned. That was just kind of the last, they ran down to Worcester, I think, to clean stuff up. There's actually a picture of that at the Worcester area, but it's kind of sad to think about. This is a very, very big deal. They ran to Chippewa Lake. They really connected the country with the city well before that was the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to think about when this line was completed finally in 1907. The main mode of transportation was horse and buggy.
Yeah.
And then you could jump on a streetcar from country bumpkin Nankin, Ohio.
Yeah, and highball at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, go to Cleveland.
To Cleveland.
And then, towards the end there, they had this setup where you could, it would take you, it was like a package deal. You could get on the trolley, go straight to Cleveland Hopkins Airport. I don't think it was called that then, but you could go to the airport in Cleveland, hop on a Ford Tri-Motor, and then go to Detroit for a day and then come back.
Yep.
So you could go literally from West Salem, Ohio to Detroit on an airplane, on a passenger airplane in the 1920s. And it's like, I think I saw an unconfirmed thing where it took like 2 hours to get to Cleveland. But that's crazy back in that day.
Yeah, especially in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
You're not getting on 71 and driving up to Cleveland.
We can see 71 in the background there. It takes about an hour to get from Cleveland to West Salem nowadays. Yeah. And that's because we can drive 80 miles an hour almost the whole way up there. In 1920, where you're more likely to ride in a horse and wooden cart, you could get to Cleveland in 2 hours. It's insane.
It's insane.
Or at least close to it. But regardless, it's just
that
crazy.
Was it. That was the top of the line back then. I mean, like you just said, what are you going to do?
Right.
Get on your horse?
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. But yeah, we have a couple more locations we're going to check out and throw in the video here. So hope you guys are enjoying it so far. And
I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, I would say we'd love to, hear what else you guys want us to do. We're at our last location of the video here. We are now back in West Salem. We already saw us down in the Drake Park talking about the trestle and stuff and the right-of-way that was that road. I can't think of what it's called. Greeley Road. And right behind me is a substation, modern substation. Well, there was also the substation for the trolley line right here. So these big poles back there, that's on the right of way. And then right here was the station. There's a cool picture of it. We'll try to throw it up. Looking that way, so the view is from where we're standing right here, looking that way. There's a trolley line, people standing there. And then we'll pan over here, back down Greeley Road to the right of way. And this would have obviously gone where we've already been, Nankin, Ashland, and off Mansfield down to Columbus. So we are gonna end the video off here. You know, if you guys have any questions, if you want us to do anything specific, have any comments, any corrections, you know, if you guys know something we don't, please let us know. We'd be happy to hear it, happy to answer any questions, and we're gonna keep on trying to do this. So we want to say thank you. We made a thank you video for last year, but we didn't get to post it because we got sick. But we want to thank you for all the support from last year, and we got some awesome things planned for this year, so keep on watching. Okay, so we wanted to add a little bit of bonus content here. So we've known, this is something about people who live in this area. They know where this is. We're not going to share its location on here, but there are 2 interurban vehicles, trolley cars, whatever, in these woods, private property. You know, don't go back there. We're not, but they're back there. One looks like it's definitely from the Cleveland and Southwestern. We are pretty close to their route. I mean, we are like maybe 2 miles, maybe not even 2 miles from their tracks. So I mean, that's what we believe it would be for them. There is nothing that we can see that says who these belong to, but this car right here, I don't know if you can see it right now in the camera. It looks identical to the pictures of their fast freight service, or this is the powered one, and then the trailer behind it, which is what is preserved at the Northern Ohio Railway Museum. Don't know which car number this is or anything, or if it even is that. It could just be one of the trailers, but there's no way of knowing because there's no identification that could be seen. But yeah, we wanted to talk about this, and we don't know the details about it. We don't want to, you know, violate this person's privacy, so we're just gonna stay from public areas and look at it, but it's still really cool. You know, something's still back there.